So we are sitting at the O'Reilly's here in the next town over, waiting on them to open so I can get my battery clamps for the dually. And in this video, at this point, my other truck, Michelle here, has decided that she doesn't want to have working lights. So it's kind of going to sort out what it's got, what it doesn't have, and then we'll work our way from there to figure out what's happened. Now, I know what originally happened was the wiring for this light over here rubbed into the frame, grounded it out, melted a fuse, and melted the actual fuse box itself. Now, as a side note, everything from right about where the end of that air tank is back is going to be cut and replaced, so no big deal there. But anyways, let's get to it. Let's see what we've got. Alright, so we do have dash lights. Do have marker lights on the driver's side, and we have marker lights on the passenger side in the front, and as it stands we have marker lights in the back. So on the surface everything is good to go so far. Alright, so let's hit the four-way flashers and see what goes on. And now the flasher is actually on right now, but there's no flashing in the back. And we have no flashing up front, or at least for the hazard lights. So let's switch on over to the turn signals. Okay, so we have front turn signals on the driver's side. We have rear turn signals on the driver's side. Alright, so now once we've switched it to the right side turn signal, we have not got a turn signal up front. And we have not got a turn signal in the rear. So my issues with, and also as a side note, two things. One, we do not appear to have a passenger side running light with the turn signals on for the right side. And since I don't have an assistant or a tripod, I couldn't show you, but I pushed the brakes and I do not see any glow coming up extra, because I did it earlier this morning where it was good and dark so I could see myself. So I don't have brake lights or passenger side turn signals, but everything else seems to be cool beans. So from there we can kind of narrow it down a little bit from one thing to another. Found the culprit. I didn't realize it had gotten this bad, but with a fresh bulb on this side, because the other side had one of the filaments had broken. You can see it's got two. One is showing it's glowing for, there we go, it's not glowing on the bottom one. Top is your running light. That's the number 3157 bulb. And this is why I don't have turn signals. Where it had ground and rubbed and just grounded itself out against the frame, one wire, it appears, is held on. Basically at least one negative and one positive out of the three wires, and then basically with the same turn signal still on. God, this is hard to do by myself, but anyways, I bumped it and it clicked. The other filament worked, and that was how I figured out that was my problem. So no big deal, just wire another pigtail on and away I go. Simple as that. So yeah, with a little bit of troubleshooting, I figured out exactly where my issue was. I'd been running ragged between two trucks trying to work, so on and so forth. So simple fix with a new pigtail, I'm good to go. JC is very impatient with me today. She's ready to go home. We've been at work all night, 14 hours. But yeah, if you have lighting issues with your OBS trucks, now the wires may look a little different, but generally speaking, they're all the same from 80 to 96. Start with running lights, because running lights do have their own fuse. And you can find that under your driver's side fuse panel. It'll say external lights, trailer lights, blah, blah, blah. And it's a 15 amp fuse. So you want to pull your lights on if you've got dash lights and you've got, say, running lights here and you just have a bulb out, no big deal. If you've got running lights, check if you've got brake lights. If you've got running lights, no brake lights, there's probably a brake somewhere. If you've got, you pulled the lights, you got running lights, brake lights, but you don't have a turn signal, it's either a bulb or you're looking at maybe a flasher module. There's two. There's one for your four-way flashers, your hazard lights. Then there's the one that is for your turn signals and stuff. And what it's for, the reason it's split in two like that is so that you've got one is redundant for your flashers and stuff, so that in case there's an issue like I've had here, I can still click my flashers, and as long as the flasher's good and I've got bulbs, it'll still work. It'll still have hazard lights in case of an emergency. And that's the reason for you having two flasher modules. New modules are like $5, maybe 10. Rarely do they go out, but they do go out. And just a heads up, if you've got like an automatic transmission in your truck. Now when I say automatic transmission, a C6 it won't do it with, because it's a mechanically operated setup. But with an E4 or like the 4R100s, and you put LED lights in for your brake lights and stuff, it'll make the transmission shift hard. And sometimes you'll see the what's called hyper flash, where instead of just a on off on off on off, it's back and forth. The fix for that is to go through on your brake pedal, or that's the easiest way to get to, is to basically add a ground for your brake pedal that goes to a load resistor. You can get those at Walmart for like $8 or $10. And basically the reason for that is that the LEDs don't actually put off as much heat as a standard incandescent bulb. So those flasher modules, whenever you've got LEDs, they're looking for the draw from the incandescent bulbs. They don't see it, so therefore they start hyper flashing. And if you've got an automatic transmission, then you're going to have some hard shifts, again, hyper flashing, just small issues that can be fixed with, like I said, the little load resistor, and they're easy to find. There's a ton of write-ups on the internet about it, so not a hard thing to fix. $20 at most, but I hope this helps kind of narrow things down for those of you that have electrical issues. And as always, dielectric grease and clean grounds are your friend, along with a 12-volt test light, just to confirm yes or no that you had power on the wires that's supposed to have it. Also very helpful for confirming dead shorts that you're grounded out somewhere else. So you guys have a good day and keep it between the lines.